you're talking about is the surveillance state.
Yeah, that's
That,
all Mantis influenced.
the mantids can't understand us humans. We're too erratic, we're too emotional, we're too complex for them. So the way that they rule their other planets and the way they want to rule this one, this giant push is a direct result of that change of the guard for planet Earth.
That makes sense because they will be able to control our thoughts, surveil us, and so it'll all be through the AI, it'll be through the 5G, whatever. And so that's that side of the forces that are actually influencing everything, the AI aspect, which is scarier.
And the illness that's, just for censorship reasons, the illness that we're all supposed to buy into.
Right.
This is the precursor where it's problem, reaction, solution. Therefore, we need a surveillance state to keep on top of it. It's nonsense. But unfortunately, nobody's buying it.
Medical tyranny. Yeah, that's true. And it's failing miserably. And people just are not accepting the whole thing of the thing that we're not supposed to say. So, moving on. The astral soldiers are undefeated. In all instances, light defeats dark. So there's no danger. In other words, if you mess up and slip up, is there a way that an astral soldier could get kind of zapped or pulled into some dark demon? Or is it just about don't show fear? Is that what it is?
No, it's happened.
Oh, it has happened.
It happened. Yeah, no, one of our...
There's been casualties.
Not a casualty, a wound.
What about a capture?
No, well, we wouldn't let that happen.
Okay, so how did that happen?
Well,
what was the mistake?
The team split into two groups because we had two themes that we were going to work on. One was the separation, and the very first, one group was going through child sacrifice grottos in European castles, underneath European castles, and they all fed down into the same thing. And me and one other guy, we separated because one of the key emotions involved was the separation of man. You know that Michelangelo picture of God and man on a cloud and they're not quite touching? That was that whole concept is promoted by them because they need us to believe that we can't directly access God, that God is too far away, and that by creating that distance, it serves them.
Okay.
But one team was going down through this angle and I was coming down through this angle. And when they met at the bottom, we didn't meet at the bottom. There was a hallway connecting us. But in it was the worst monster, well, not the worst, but a bizarre monster that they kept for special occasions because it could move like liquid slinky, but it could also change its state to completely solid to completely liquid. And so it could take on any shape it wanted, it could move really fast, and it could stab into whoever it wanted and infect them.
Really?
Yeah, well, look, one of the guys on the other side of the hallway, he was a bit too gung-ho, and he just went at it with a sword, and that wasn't going to cut it. And so I did a time stop mechanism on there and did the dimensional capture, and then put that in another dimension, then in another dimension, then in another dimension, just so that it would have to break through all of them before we would have to respond to it. But yeah, we took him up to the Galactic Federation of Light ship and go, look, he's got an infection that runs from his finger all the way up his arm. There's something going on. When we look at it, we don't have a clue what this is. And they have med beds up there for exactly that reason. But they took him to a medical tank, which was 10 meters across, 12 meters across as a dome, 4 meter tall dome. And I didn't even know they had that stuff, but that's how seriously they took it. And, we had to I kept tabs on him up there. I kept this part of his spirit up there for 2 weeks. And I kept tabs on him to make sure that it was.
Wow.
It spooked us all.
Really?
Yeah, like I hadn't seen that kind of thing before, but it was definitely an assassin beast. Like, you know, release that into anywhere and nobody knows how to fight it.
The Kraken. So that was the first time you guys felt a sense of vulnerability. Was in that moment that you figured we're not like completely indestructible.
Let me make the point that I've taken plenty of punches to get where I am.
Oh, really?
I didn't learn. Diligence with which we take security or safety is so high that I cannot share that with you.
Okay.
But you know, this is one that I learned the hard way, and this is why it was so important to develop these technologies that we're using to protect ourselves. Like, you know.
So you took your lumps, learning how to get as strong as you are. So now the next thing is when does the school begin to start training the Jedis of the future? Like, I want to join the Jedi training courses, you know? So how do you start like developing the up and coming talent or the next generation, or creating, or do you just say like eventually we're going to start having schools that get children started? I just think it's a natural progression, right?
I think meditation should be taught in schools. I think astral travel should be taught in schools. And when you understand some of the things that you can do with it, it's about emotional self-management is probably what we should be teaching in schools. And kids want that.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're a kid, you can, I mean, like, listen, I've astral traveled many times, but I've never really had control over it. Like, when I was a child, I used to astral travel, and I'd always be, like, controlled by something else, or I just didn't harness any skill set for it, or I couldn't do it at will, but it would happen periodically, and still happens, and I've spoke about it on a couple of episodes.
There's two things that I want to say. I train people to a very, very high level. And just get in touch with me and join the programs, all right?
That's what it is? Just get in touch.
Get in touch and then get the ball rolling.
Listen, I'll be in touch.
Yeah, I'm keen. I'd love to show you all the things.
I want to join the team. I want to go on these missions.
There's a reason why it's so important that we create, I'm going to say, an office of astral travel or a department of
headquarters, an agency.
Whatever the fancy word for it is, right? And I actually have a Patreon called the Earth Energetics Protection Agency. Yeah, the link's in the description. The point that I want to make is, if us humans don't know how to control the Earth's magnetospheres and spiritual spheres and all of the different mechanisms within, if we don't control that, we don't know how to manage that, then some other group of intergalactic punks, be they reptilian or otherwise, are going to show up and do it for us.
Absolutely.
If we don't know how to manage our own planet, then we don't get to keep it.
Imagine if everybody. Go ahead.
Why? This is the whole thing that I'm went public for, is to get support for this thing that I'm talking about now. Because
you need to.
Our planet needs a group who can manage the energies of planet Earth, who can work to make sure that Earth is secure from these kinds of parasitic punk groups who are really high-tech, who are really vicious, and just prevent Earth from becoming a slave planet once more.
Is there any talks of the government, like the Earth Alliance? Are they developing an agency or department that's like Space Command, where they now actually have this department, where agency like the Navy SEALs, now they have the Astral Soldiers? Like, are they doing anything?
I'm actually sure they do, but I just don't trust. I tried to get the U.S. Navy tried to recruit me for.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Years ago. Don't want to know.
Oh yeah.
But, look, this has to be independent. I'd rather it was crowdfunded and like we report to our crowdfunders rather than any government agency.
But
and talk about what we're doing, you know.
You do report to the Galactic Federation, though, right?
Not strictly.
Okay.
We work together.
Okay, so you are independent.
My number one loyalty is to Gaia.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm of the personal opinion that the day the Pleiadians or the Arcturians or the Syrians fly down in their fancy spaceships and land here, that's also the day that this ceases to be a human culture. Because wherever that happened, wherever a technologically superior group showed up, the local culture changed and not into what the colonists wanted. It emulated the colonists.
This is true. And I guess this is why they are not interfering, because they don't want that to happen. They don't want it to be like looked at upon as like the gods or this or that. So I think that's why they're not having interference or contact.
Well, look, that's my personal opinion. I think we should have embassies for sure. I have no idea. Like, that sort of question I haven't figured out.
Well, you make it clear in your videos, in the opening statements, that you believe that Earth should be a human culture, and it should just be occupied by humans, correct?
Exclusively human culture.
Right.
Well,
but if we're going to move into the Star Trek future, where we're going to have a galactic part in contributing to the whole galactic existence, then we have to kind of like mingle and mesh and welcome these species. But it's still our planet.
Well, okay, so all of the different species that showed up here and tinkered with the local DNA, right? They upgraded the DNA, and they upgraded human DNA, and each group contributed some really, really special high-grade DNA, right? But planet Earth is the only place where we've managed to integrate the best DNA from a dozen races, right? So actually, there is a case for saying that human beings are just flat out, Earth humans are flat out superior to these other species, and for us to, well, because our genetics are unique. They are the richest genetics that we can have. And
we are the gold of the galaxy.
And look, people call it people call us galactic royalty.
They do. They do. That's why they trade us. That's why they want to breed with us. That's why they feed on us, because we are the gold. So that is true, but that also means that we, in a sense, we're all hybrids of some nature. So it's sort of like we have a piece of all of these species. So they're a part of us, that we are not really like just humans of Earth. We are built from multitude of species. So does that mean that they have the ability, the right to actually integrate with us because we're a piece of them as well?
Oh, look, the reptilians definitely take that attitude. We created you. You've got some of our DNA, therefore you belong to us.
Well, not belong, but yeah, all right. But now the good guys.
Yeah.
The good guys will say, but listen, the Arcturians, they're super evolved. They're nothing but love and benevolence. They're not trying to rule us. They're trying to free us. They're trying to help us free ourselves. They're going to introduce themselves in a diplomatic way of being like equals. And we're not superior to you just because we're more evolved. You have so much developed, but you should look at us as equals. I see that's how they approach the contact.
Well, look, what I'm hearing generally is like the most rose-colored attitude that people can take. When I hear this discussion, when the aliens fly down and save us and all of that sort of jazz,
there's no saving.
Totally. The quality of conversation is so naive it hurts. Like, it's so pathetic. Yeah, they'll come down, they'll tell us everything to do, and they'll make everything work.
No.
And that's not, but to the day that happens, it's not a human culture anymore.
We're slaves again.
And that's why like I said, I don't have the answers. I just want people to think a little bit harder about the question.
This is what they're trying to avoid on the galactic levels. They don't want to be looked at as gods and saviors. That's why they're forcing us to save ourselves. They basically have said, we've cleaned up the dark ETs that don't belong here, but it's your job to stand on your own, declare your sovereignty, and to present yourself as an equal, not as a subservient. And so until we get there, they're basically saying they're not going to enter until we get to that place. So hopefully
that's why the ground crew is so important.
Yes.
Like the ground crew make or break this story,
and that consists of like your team, the Earth Alliance, light workers, people like myself. It's like this is the 1% that are trying to get that point of collective consciousness to actually declare their independence and their sovereignty, and not look at any other species as being superior. So that is the ultimate challenge to get to. So let me just check and see what else we have covered. Quite a bit. Oh, that's right. You didn't have your lunch yet.
My missus bought me some sushi, and I've just been watching it for the last 45 minutes.
Why didn't you eat it? You could have took a bite. I mean, God Almighty, you want fresh sushi. You don't want old sushi. The Galactic Courts. You said there was an AI that basically presides over that. So the difference between like the Galactic Federation of Worlds and the Galactic Federation of Light is just like a department. It's just a branch.
It's important. That's really important.
Okay, good. I hit a good one.
You're doing an awesome job, brother.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it.
It was a real honor to be on the show.
It's an honor to have you, believe me, because you're going to be a superstar, and I got you first. These kinds of things have been happening more often than not lately because of the path that I'm on, and even the projection of the show is attracting people like yourself. So I'm not surprised. I'm just I expect this kind of stuff. So here we are.
I've been praying for someone like yourself to come and
really.
Yeah.
It's amazing how the light workers are finding each other, and because they say you need to start gathering in groups and start gathering in teams, because by yourself it's not what it's about. You need to do it in together. So that's what's happening.
Ask me about that too.
What's that?
Ask me about like the value of teamwork. Are you getting more out of the team?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, you would know, because you were doing stuff by yourself, and now you're doing it with team, and you're doing it with like really amazing people, and so like you're just seeing the results that are just astronomically effective. Just imagine if not if every kid, but if like normal things were like children were taught to astral project, to meditate, to harness their light skills as a young age in school. And now think about like that nobody could mess with us. We could defend ourselves independently and collectively, and we will have the tools and resources to be free and defended. So that's what needs to happen, and it should, and it will.
It gets even better, right? If every kid was taught to meditate, then they would be able to see, like imagine they're about to do a business deal, or they're about to shake hands about something, right? They can look at the other person and know their intentions and understand exactly what that person is thinking, exactly what they're planning. And if they don't like it, then they'll know, which means it will become impossible to deceive.
Yes.
It will become impossible to lie. And I can't imagine what that would change.
That's what it's going to be in the fifth dimension. Because all of us will be upgraded, and we'll all just have this vibration that we will be able to detect this deception. So that's going to be a natural progression, where lying and deceiving is just going to be something of the past, because you can't get away with it.
That's the revolution that comes with that technological upgrade, you know?
Just imagine, eliminate deception and lying. How much would change, like for the better? Like so much. It would just be like...
We're talking about the same quality of revolution as literacy, right? You know, reading and writing used to just be 1% of the population did it. It was a very special, and you were kind of magical.
The elites, yeah.
Yeah, but when they invented the printing press, then everybody had access to books, and immediately you had the Reformation and the Renaissance and all of it, and like this flowering, the Enlightenment flowering of human culture.
And the hoarding, the Vatican hoarding all the historical documents, so we couldn't be enlightened, we couldn't learn the truth. They stored all that truth in their own chambers and hid it from. I mean, they were so hell bent on hiding. That's where censorship started. They were hell bent on hiding the knowledge to the people that had access to it now and could read. And now it was a big thing to change and only give them stuff that they wrote and that they created for them to read. So the propaganda begins. But just think of, I mean, like their whole operation is built on deception and lies. So if you took away that, they would be powerless. There would be no elite cabal, Luciferian, whatever you want to call them, because their whole thing is based on deception. It's all lies. Take that away.
The dark side only has two moves. They only have two things that they do. One is deception, and the other is violence.
And fear.
That's
fear.
Not in their remit to do more than that. They can't think past those two things. When you see through my BS, then I've got to attack you.
Right.
all they have. That's it. That's the whole thing.
And their BS is based on putting fear into you that's to submit and cower to either they're the savior or they're the the monster. It's going to be one or the other. You're going to submit to them one way or the other. So back to the difference between the Galactic Federation of Light and the Galactic Federation of Worlds.
Okay, now the Galactic Federation of Light is only light beams. The Galactic Federation of Worlds, or the Galactic Federation, has a much broader entry requirement. Dodgy species and dodgy groups can join the Galactic Federation, whereas they would not be admitted to the Galactic Federation of Light.
Oh, so you got to be pure.
The Galactic Federation of Light is all committed to evolution, right? But the Galactic Federation has members of the Galactic Federation of Light, but it also has some dodgy characters as well.
I heard. So the Galactic Federation of Light is pure beings of the utmost moral standards. Do they have a higher ranking authority over the GFW? There's nothing they don't have overseeing power over the Galactic Federation world. They're just
running parallel to them. And
okay.
The Galactic Federation of Light and the Galactic Federation of Worlds have overlapping memberships.
Right.
Yeah, so there is no hierarchy between them, but like the Galactic Federation of Light can go into the detail of their plans to evolve the universe. Whereas if you shared those in the Galactic Federation of Worlds, there are groups there who would want to thwart it. And there's also groups that are too nasty and too rabid to be invited to the Galactic Federation of Worlds.
Yeah, like in other words, you have to pledge an oath to help the humanity or the species of the galaxy for the betterment of their evolution. Like that's your pledge, is that you are going to help the other species and get free from enslavement. So you can't join that group, be an enslaver or a tyranny, unless you're faking it. Both sides, they kind of they're out for themselves, but then they kind of need help from, or they provide help. I've heard of that. I've heard that there's some difficult ones out there.
Look, it's a mess. I'm not going to say how many species are actually out there, but they're all here. It's like this is the best show. This is the best show in the galaxy.
The Earth. I mean, the Earth is like they say. The Earth is located where all the highways of portals that can now converge. It's kind of like the central point. It's like Grand Central Station. The Earth.
I would say, look, creating portals and traveling back and forth to this world and that world is just a skill set. And a lot of these cultures are built on them. Like these are things that they've absorbed. They already know how to do this stuff.
Okay.
They can push the physics to make it work for themselves. But I think like this hub is more like a party or and like these species are trading with each other, they're interacting, they're setting up deals, they're connecting with people they've never seen before. Like it's just
it's amazing.
Organized in any way. Don't imagine that like every group has their plans, they've got their teams they're supporting, they've got their thing they're trying to do.
Somebody is trying to find a way to corral and get some stability and some order to get all these cowboys to stop coming in and just tearing up the place, right?
Exactly right.
And nobody on Earth, except for the 1%, even has the slightest clue that even any of this exists. There's people on this planet that just think we are alone. They think Earth is flat. There's no space. They think that aliens don't exist. Or even if they think aliens exist, they only think it's like the Greys, like the little ones that they see on TV or whatever. There's like one set of aliens out there in this world, and they have no idea what's really going on, like on a daily basis.
Totally. Russian special forces and US special forces have lists with photographs of the different breeds of aliens, and it says, shoot these guys, don't shoot them. Like, it's great.
Like Men in Black,
Totally. Men in Black is the name of the group that handles interplanetary relations. That's the Russian group. It's actually called Men in Black. The Will Smith movie is about a Russian Department of Russian Defense.
It's a documentary. Most of the Hollywood movies are all true that they project as being fiction to let us know what they're doing in advance. Like just let's get this freaking planet back. That's all we want to do. Like, we'll do it anonymously. We'll do it, like, you don't have to say anything. Just wake up and start freaking smelling the roses and get on board with what is really happening and snap your head out of the freaking sand. That's what we're trying to do. And little by little, hopefully we're doing it. On the physical level, there's just still all this chaos that's going on. And that's all part of it. I mean, I don't know about you, but like I've been getting like a lot of messages from the Ascended Masters. They're very involved right now. Like they're watching and they say how close we are.
Well, look, the Ascended Masters are our friends. We're a continuation of their tradition. With us regard us as the next generation of miracle workers, which they themselves are.
So we took back the moon, correct? Like the moon is back in our control, right?
Maybe. There's a lot of groups there.
Apparently, so when I was told that the moon has been reclaimed, so that frequency has been turned off, and that's allowing us to now like receive.
Thank God for that. I haven't checked out the moon in a while.
Maybe that should be the next target, like just to give it a once over.
Yeah, no, I'll do a report on the moon.
Yeah, do me a favor, find out if that's true, if we did liberate the Earth, because apparently we booted out all the dark forces, and then those dark corporations, Lockheed and Martin.
Yeah, I totally believe it,
yeah.
The secret space program has been going for ages.
Well, they got the dark side and the light side, and even the light side is questionable, It's like, the white hat.
Survive somehow,
Yeah, but yeah, that's just been going on. So a lot of stuff, and it's all coming out. So let's do it, rock and roll. Thank you, Alobar, right? That's how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Do people call you AJ?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I was gonna say,
yeah,
I mean.
Yeah, they do.
I'm like, dude, what? You're AJ to me. I mean, so your friends call you AJ.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna be from now on, AJ. All right, AJ.
Let's do that.
Finish your sushi. Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon. I'm gonna finish the rest of my early morning, evening. It's 2 a.m. here. It's 2 p.m. by you, Australia time. Is there anything that, as far as people could find you or get in touch with you with?
Yeah, look, alobarjones.com is my website. And
looking forward.
You can help it buy a little bit of our time so we can spend it saving the Earth rather than going and making a buck to survive by.
You know what? You guys started and you're growing quickly and probably get hit here and there by the dark forces to try to censor and protect it because we're right over the targets. Anything target-wise that's on the horizon that you want to share?
Yeah, there's a few things, but what I want to ask is if the people listening have got some intel or an idea, like our team just goes through a list of ideas and picks one for today. And we go through it again next time, just pick one that we like.
So send them over.
Yeah, totally. If you know something that we don't, we need intel.
A base location, stuff that's going on.
Oh, look, any plot, any group, anything you can dream up. Like,
really?
Just send us some ideas, like, because it's the astral planes. There's more astral planes than there is physical Earth, and it's a lot to explore. So, fresh ideas just give us new things to play with. I'm
gonna start thinking of some stuff and send them over to you as well, and then I'm gonna start my training.
Yeah, awesome.
Then I'm gonna go on a mission one day. And this, recruit some more soldiers. Take care. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Alobar Jones. Fantastic session.